I never thought that I could be one of those people who just like woke up early. I was the person who was always sleeping until I might be late if I don't get up right now. I was tired. The sleep was so good, and nobody had ever given me a reason to change my mind on that. So I was just a little bit or a lot of it convinced that I was born that way, it was out of my control, and that was that. But when I started getting up earlier, I am a changed woman. My life and my days instantly got infinitely better. So today I am going to share with you why it is so worth it to wake up earlier and how you can do it while still feeling good. Welcome back, my friends, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Christy and I make content centered around realizing that no matter where we are in life, no matter our age, we are just on time to live the life of our dreams. And I realized that in order to live my dream life, I have to have time to be able to do that. And getting up, rushing to work, then getting back home and being too tired to be able to do anything else, that was just not the vibe. That was not going to get me there. And I told myself, I said, girl, you got to get up earlier. Anybody who's really known me for any length of time knows that I have never been a quote unquote morning person. My body naturally wants about 9 hours of sleep. And I was just like, yeah, I can't do it. I dabbled in it here and there over the years, but last year I made the commitment to consistently start waking up earlier for myself and for the goals that I wanted to achieve. And when I say that it is life-changing, I don't mean to be dramatic, but it really was. And while I still very much enjoy my sleep, I don't see myself ever being one of those people who just refuses to get up early because the benefits are just that good. We're gonna spend a little bit of time talking about what waking up earlier actually means, why you should wake up earlier, and some tips that have helped me to do it in a healthy and sustainable way. So let's get to it. So first, let's address the 5 a.m. elephant in the room. What is so special about 5 a.m.? Do you need to wake up at 5 a.m.? And why do we romanticize it so much? Things that get a lot of traction end up becoming the standard by which we decide we need to live our lives. I can't find exactly where it originated, but right around 2018, 2019, a book came out called The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma, and it was an instant bestseller, and it started to get a lot of traction. After that, you had a lot of celebrities and a lot of influencers who really gravitated to it, and it just became all over our social media feeds of people's 5 a.m. morning routine and what that looks like for them and how successful people feel like they are when they wake up at 5 a.m. So that's a little bit of a backstory. But here's the deal. You do not need to wake up at 5 a.m. to be successful. However, do you need to wake up earlier instead of starting out the day in a mad rush to get out of the door? Yes, but early can look different depending on your needs, and so we'll get into that in a bit. Why do we need to wake up earlier? What are the benefits of it? There's a lot of sleep research that talks about the benefits of waking up earlier, which of course means going to bed earlier, but those benefits include reduced anxiety, more energy throughout the day, better performance in the tasks that we need to complete, among a host of other amazing things. For me, I have found that it helps me to keep my mind centered and makes me feel good about the day that I'm walking into. It used to be that I would wake up 30 minutes before I had to leave or before I had to do something. And at the time, I thought that it was working for me because it was just my habit, it was just my routine. But I realized that I would be frantic and rushed basically every single morning. And it really took me a few hours to get my head on straight and be ready for the day. I felt like I just never had time to get accomplished the things that I needed to really get accomplished, because by the time I got home from work or by the time I got home from doing the things that I needed to do, then it was time to start winding down and my mind just wasn't as alert to do the things that needed to happen. Now that I wake up early, I feel like I have so much more of a handle on not just my time, but also my day. And so you probably have the question, how early should I wake up? So that depends on what your schedule looks like. While 5 a.m. is a nice round kind of starting point, I honestly do not think that that is good or even appropriate for everybody. For example, if you work an evening shift and then you work overnight, there would be no purpose for you to wake up at 5 a.m. Or say you are single and you don't have anybody to take care of but yourself, you start work at 9, you work from home, you might want to wake up at 5, but you also probably don't need to wake up that early. There is nothing magical or special about 5 a.m. The magic is in looking at your schedule and determining how early it is that you need to get up in order to accomplish life. A good rule of thumb that I like to use, which I read somewhere that I can't remember now, but 1 to 2 hours before I either need to be on or I need to be doing something. So if you have kiddos and they wake up at 7, you probably want to wake up somewhere between 5 and 6. If you work an evening shift and you have to start getting ready by 4, maybe you're thinking around 2 or 2:30. I've never worked an evening shift, but you get the gist. For me, through my church, we have a 7 a.m. prayer every morning, Monday through Friday, that lasts about 10 to 15 minutes. And so 7 a.m. is really kind of my hard stop for whatever it is that I'm doing, or it is a hard wake up time to get up and be part of prayer. And so for me, if I'm wanting to do anything before that time, that's why 5 o'clock usually works for me, somewhere between 5 and 5:30. Sometimes it's a little bit earlier or later. Sometimes it's 4:30, sometimes it's 6. It just really depends on what I feel like I need to do. I can ease into my day. I can do things for me. I can spend time with God. I can do my devotion. I can work on YouTube. I really can just whatever it is that I feel like I want to accomplish during that time. It gives me that space to be able to do it and to not feel rushed, to actually move with a lot more slowness. Also, except for 7 a.m. prayer, my schedule is kind of all over the place. As a professor, I don't like having a consistent schedule of like when I need to be on campus or when it is that I'm having meetings. That every single day actually does look quite different. And so that 7 a.m. time is really consistent for me, which means that when I wake up earlier, it just provides more consistency for me throughout my work week. To that point, you don't need to wake up that early every single day. You may be like me and you like the consistency that it provides for you, but it also may be a thing where you're looking at your work week and maybe it is consistent, but maybe you have some days that are busier or lighter than others. And that's where you determine, okay, on these days, on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I need to wake up extra early. On Tuesday and Friday, maybe I can sleep in just a tiny bit more. On the weekends, I enjoy sleeping in either as long as I feel like I need to or as long as I can, depending on what I have going on. It is my way of being able to balance being focused and disciplined and diligent all throughout the week, but then also having just time to chill out and rest on the weekends to avoid burnout and to be excited for like tackling the week all over again. Now, here's the big question. How to wake up earlier. The first part of this answer is kind of hard because you are probably not going to like it. You just got to want to. I mentioned this in a previous video that I will link for you, but if you do not have a strong why for waking up earlier that gets you out of bed, you are not going to do it. If the comfort of sleep is bigger than your why, you're not going to do it. And all the things that you try to do won't matter because you are trying to wake up earlier and you haven't made that commitment to yourself. For me, it was a one-day turnaround. It was not a let me set my alarm 5 minutes early every day for a month until I get to 5 o'clock. No, one day I was waking up at 8 a.m. and the next day I was waking up at 5 a.m. because I had a really strong why for wanting to do that. So that's the first thing. Figure out your why and how much time you need in order to be able to accomplish that why. Maybe you have a passion project that you want to do, but your work schedule is really demanding and you don't have a lot of that focused energy to dedicate to it later in the day. Maybe you want to stop feeling so rushed throughout the day and you want to have time to be able to pour into yourself and have time for intentional slowness before you have to give to the rest of the world. Maybe you want to work out. Maybe it's just that you want time alone by yourself to stare at the wall and use the bathroom without somebody calling your name. Whatever is your driving purpose, it just has to be strong enough to make you be excited and want to get out of bed. And you have to want to do it because this is a commitment to yourself. So many times we see the value of either keeping the commitments that we make to other people or the ones in which we can see a direct impact if we don't do it. For example, going to work or catching a flight. You know you have to be there on time because there is a negative something attached to it if you aren't. But then we don't always translate that into the promises that we make for ourselves. When we don't show up for ourselves and see those promises and those commitments as also being valuable, then we lose trust in ourselves and we start to feel like we're not able to do it. But once you start to see yourself and to see that time as a priority, I promise you it gets so much easier. And it's not going to be a thing of, oh, I'm just so tired, I can't do it. No, you will get up and you will be ready to go. The mind is a very powerful thing. And when you don't want to do something or when you are not mentally ready for it, then everything that is in you will fight against it. But when you decide that you want change and you're ready for it, it really does get easy. So that was my biggest answer to that. Some other tips: go to bed earlier. If you are trying to wake up at 5 or 6, you cannot be going to bed at like midnight or 1 a.m. or whatever, because you will be tired. It is not healthy. It's not sustainable. So go to bed early. Get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Shut your phone off. Get in your cozies. You know all of that stuff. Do that too. If you really want to get up earlier, I promise you, you can do it. Figure out your strong why, set your alarm clock, and get up. Don't try to get up. Don't overplan for it. Don't overthink about it. Just do it. I guarantee you it is definitely worth it. Alrighty, friends. So that is what I have for you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and share your tips below if you have some wake up early tips. Also, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? I'm gonna need you to jump on that. Alrighty, guys. I love you, and I will see you in my next. Bye for now.